That right there is honestly a disqualifying statement all on its own. I don't care whether you have 11 million subscribers or 11 subscribers, no one should be allowed to make outlandish, obviously false claims like that and still be taken seriously as a fitness coach. What's up guys, Sean Alawani, RealScienceAthletics.com, and today I'm going to be responding to a recent fairly insane video from Jeff Cavaliere of Athlean-X titled "Get Bigger Arms in 22 Days, Guaranteed."
What's up guys, Jeff Cavaliere, Athlean-X.com. Today I continue our popular 22-day series, and this one guys, the big promise is this: I'm going to help you to build bigger arms, guaranteed.
And to be clear, his video title is not meant as hyperbole, so he doesn't clarify once you start watching that, okay, now that you're here guys, obviously we all know that you can't build significant arm size in just 3 weeks. This is just an extra little arm routine that you can follow, since the previous 5,000 arm workouts that I've already uploaded clearly aren't enough. Nope, he's actually just gone full Chloe Ting at this point, and he's just straight up portraying this 22 days to bigger muscle series as being something completely legitimate.
By the time these 22 days are over, your biceps and triceps size are going to be much more significant than they are right now, and those t-shirts of yours are going to be a lot more filled up than they are right now.
Now, if you're a diehard Athlean-X fan, especially if you're still a beginner, which clearly makes up the vast majority of Jeff's audience, as evidenced by the fact that nobody in his comment section on his video even questions the ridiculous claims that he's making here. And in that case, this is probably just gonna go in one ear and out the other. But for those who are sort of more on the fence and who are open to thinking critically and absorbing new information, let's make this really clear, and I'll explain why this actually matters in just a minute here. There are two reasons, but let's make it clear that you are not going to achieve significant muscle growth in a given body part in the way that Jeff is describing here. You're not gonna do that over a span of just 22 days, period, okay? Not gonna happen. No one who actually knows what they're talking about, no legitimate fitness coach, no experienced lifter who's actually been at this for any length of time and understands what it takes to build muscle as a natural, no one, including Jeff Cavaliere, actually thinks this, okay? You're not gonna make dramatic increases in your arm size in just 3 weeks. You're just not, okay? This type of content is nothing more than a bullshit gimmick designed purely for clicks and views, just like probably 90% plus of build bigger arms videos on YouTube are. Most of those videos, not all of them, there of course is such a thing as legit useful arm training advice and viable arm exercise variations that you can experiment with, but a very high percentage of the time, let's say, it's really just fluff advice that's created for the sake of mass appeal. And that's because for whatever reason, most beginners out there think that building bigger biceps is this absolutely critical thing for their physique and that they need to place a ton of focus on this one really small area, when in reality it's actually massively overrated and it won't impact your physique nearly as much as you think, and it doesn't require anything fancy to build in the first place. By the way, if you're new here and you appreciate no-nonsense evidence-based fitness content without all the gimmicks and BS, then don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications as well to stay in the loop on all of my future content. Hit that like button below if you haven't already, and let's continue on.
And of course, I didn't forget about day 22. See, that's where we break out that measuring tape once again, wrap it around the arm, and then see objectively exactly how well you did. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if you made even an inch of size gains.
A full inch of additional arm size in 22 days. Guys, do you actually realize how much an inch of arm size actually is? That's a very significant amount of mass to put on your arms. It's a significant amount of mass to put on any body part, even for a larger area like your quads and hamstrings or your chest and lats. So to stand there on camera and claim with a straight face that by following my routine, you can put a full inch on your arms in 22 days, that right there is honestly a disqualifying statement all on its own. I don't care whether you have 11 million subscribers or 11 subscribers, no one should be allowed to make outlandish, obviously false claims like that and still be taken seriously as a fitness coach. And just as a side note here, while we're on the issue of exaggerating things for the sake of clicks and views, notice how when Jeff does his arm measurement, he only puts the bigger numbers on the measuring tape front and center in the camera, even though the end of the measuring tape is actually all the way up here. So unless the viewer takes the time to look more closely at it, At first glance, it looks like Jeff has these gigantic 19-inch arms, when in reality, just looking at the tape, you can see that they're probably something more like in the 16-inch range, which is still really impressive for someone of Jeff's stature and leanness. I'm not knocking him there at all. He clearly has really well-developed arms, but why not just be honest and show your actual arm measurement? You know, why purposely hide it and then twist the tape around to make it seem way bigger than it actually is? You know, it's just an example of the sort of gimmicky nature of a lot of Athlean-X's content in general. But coming back to the point here, if you're a natural lifter with around average genetics and you do everything right in terms of training and nutrition and you stay consistent, in case you're not just putting on a bunch of fat, you know, anybody can build big arms if they are stuffing their face all day long with Eskimo pies, but you're not going to gain a full inch on your arms in 3 weeks. You're not even going to gain a full inch on your arms in 3 months. Okay, depending on your genetics, realistically, it's probably going to take somewhere in the neighborhood of like 6 to 12 months to gain that first full inch of quality upper arm mass. Again, assuming you're staying reasonably lean. You know, nobody cares when people brag in the comments about having 18-inch arms when they're 27% body fat. We're talking about lean quality mass here. But outside of some parallel universe in another dimension where the laws of physics are set up so that Jeff Cavaliere really can strict curl 135 pounds for reps using real weights, no one is going to be putting an inch of actual muscle mass on their arms in 3 weeks, and especially not by following the type of routine that Jeff posts here. It's not even a good routine, really. You know, all he basically does is have you performing one exercise 3 times a week for your biceps and one exercise 3 times a week for your triceps. You know, he doesn't even recommend that you increase your overall arm training volume. He just has you splitting up your existing volume over the course of 3 separate days, and then he just throws in a few extra little techniques like adding pulses to the top of your curls or slowing down your negatives or implementing certain minor form tweaks. It's honestly nothing really special that's going to all of a sudden stimulate a bunch of new arm growth. Now, there's nothing really wrong with the little techniques that he shows here. You know, you can do these exercise variations if you'd like. You know, you can add some little pulses on your curling exercises, or you can change the position of your wrist on your push downs, but there's roughly a 0% chance that by doing these little things, you're going to magically end up with way bigger arms that are hugging at your sleeves after the course of 22 days, like Jeff is claiming here. If you are going to specialize in a certain body part, then you're going to need to increase the overall workload for that muscle in some way, whether it's by increasing the total volume or the effort per set or more exercise variations or some combination of all of those. But just taking your existing volume and then splitting it up a bit and implementing a few different form tweaks, that probably isn't going to do much of anything, or at least it's probably not going to do much of anything over the course of only 3 weeks. It might have some longer term minor benefit, but just not in 22 days. Now, why does this actually matter? Okay, even though Jeff is obviously way over exaggerating what you can achieve in a span of 22 days, does this actually negatively affect anybody? And I would say it definitely can, and for 2 reasons. So the first is that if you're truly serious about gaining muscle and transforming your overall physique, then having realistic expectations matters. You know, you need to understand the commitment involved and the approximate timeframes that are going to be involved in order to see real results. So you need to get out of this short-term instant gratification mindset. You know, this idea that you're going to put an inch on your arms in 3 weeks. I mean, that's like some 1990s muscle magazine / late night infomercial type shit, okay? You need to realize that quality muscle growth is a long-term process. It's not something that you can just force by temporarily implementing a few unique lifting tips, okay? You're looking at a scale of at least several months of consistent proper training and nutrition to really see a given muscle increase in a truly noticeable way. And to really transform your physique as a whole, like to go from, let's say, generally out of shape to having a lean, strong, muscular body that most people would consider highly impressive, that's usually going to be measured in years, okay? Obviously, everybody is different. Everyone has a different starting point, and genetics play a big role as well. You know, some people can make significant transformations much more quickly than the average person, and I'm also not saying that you can't still see very solid changes in less than a year. You definitely can, but the bottom line is that nothing serious is going to happen over the course of 22 days. Now, if Jeff had added some context here and said that, you know, this is just meant to be a short-term arm-focused cycle that might give you a small bit of extra growth, and if he really explained it in terms of fitting this into the overall picture, then that would be a lot more reasonable. But the way this is portrayed here, I mean, it's just completely and totally goofy. And the second reason why this matters is because ultimately an arm-focused program is going to be a waste of time for the majority of people who are watching this content. You know, the vast majority of people don't need to be running an arm specialization cycle, training their biceps and triceps 6 days a week with a bunch of fancy exercises and fancy techniques. They just need to focus on gaining overall mass and strength throughout their entire body as a whole on a properly structured, well-balanced program. Now, if you're an advanced lifter who's been at this for a while and your arms are a lagging muscle group that you want to bring up, then sure, have at it and see if a temporary focused body part cycle can spark some new gains there. But very few people who are truly advanced lifters are going to be getting their advice from Athlean-X videos, at least not in terms of muscle building programming, maybe for some physical therapy type stuff. And then for the other 95% of people who are watching his videos, those are going to be novice to intermediate lifters. And for those people, this obsession with arm training is just going to be a huge misallocation of your focus. You don't need to perform endless bicep curls and endless triceps extensions. Most of your arm growth is just going to come from building up your strength on the basic compound lifts. And even your arm training itself, that really doesn't need to be anything groundbreaking. You can still achieve the majority of your biceps and triceps gains off of fairly basic movements. Chasing arm gains and rearranging your whole program just to build your arms specifically, if anything, that will probably just be counterproductive. And if you want to get access to a free structured training program to maximize muscle development throughout your entire body, including your arms, with a nutritional plan to go along with it that you can follow, no gimmicks, no silliness, just solid muscle building and fat loss principles that actually work, then make sure to head over to seannell.com/custom, fill out the short form there, and I'll send you back a free plan based on your current condition and your physique goals. The link is up here as well as down below in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys. Here's 2 more videos that I'd recommend checking out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on future videos. Drop a comment down below letting me know what you want to see next, and make sure to follow me over on Instagram as well for more daily tips and updates. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.